One thing I will say about these grounds, you can hardly dig a spade into the earth without coming up with some archaeological treasure. I found a complete history of artifacts, Roman coins, 15th century spurs. The only thing I haven't discovered is the entrance to the old cellars.
This is another of the ghosts of Salisbury Hall. The prototype of the gallant little mosquito fighter bomber which started its life here when the hall became a workshop for Sir Geoffrey de Havilland.
Yes, there's no doubt at all, but you have the ghost of a woman here. I would have said that she's extremely pleasant, and if you can describe the word warm-hearted ghost, I'm sure that in life she was.
As Tom identified still another ghost, I turned for a last look at this historic and haunted house. My feelings were mixed, as they must ever be when seeking to converse with the world of the spirit. Salisbury Hall had seemed to me aglow with the past. One had felt the presence of Nell Gwynn. I resented the thought that her generous and courageous spirit should ever be in any way earthbound. Perhaps, though, she had been seeking again the happiness that was hers for a short while in this house. They say her image is fading. May we believe, as Tom does, that she is finding her rest and fulfillment in that other life that we hope awaits us all. With joy we leave thee, false world, and do forgive all thy false treachery, for now we'll happy live, that thus we happy live. In 1204, the days of Robin Hood, when King John ruled England, 30 monks and their abbot came to this place, this beautiful place called Beaulieu, to this remote stretch of land on England's south coast to build an abbey. They were Cistercians, one of the strictest orders in the Roman Catholic Church. In obedience to their rule, the abbey was to be of the simplest architecture, far away from the habitation of ordinary folk, to possess no gold nor silver ornamentation. Even the crucifix was to be made of plain wood. Working with their bare hands, it took them 42 years to complete the abbey. But when they had completed it, it looked something like this. They worked hard and they prayed hard. But above all, the monks of Beaulieu sang. The Cistercians' special care was for the dead. At the hour of 2 every morning, the monks rose from their beds, and each carrying a candle would make their way from the dormitory to the abbey for vigils and the commemoration of the dead. Gradually, the column of cowled figures, lit by flickering flames, wound its way chanting into the abbey, and each monk took his allotted place. When there was a death at the abbey, the voices of the monks rose louder than ever. As they carried the body to its grave, interceding with God for the soul of their dead brother. Gradually, the monks of this and other abbeys began to lose their simplicity of life. In 1536, the worldliness of the monasteries gave Henry VIII his excuse to dissolve them and to appropriate to himself their wealth and lands. Beaulieu was taken from the monks and sold to Sir Thomas Wriothesley, Earl of Southampton, an ancestor of the present owner, Baron Montague of Beaulieu. So for over 400 years there have been no monks at Beaulieu. But is this really so? For there are those who say that the souls of the monks who worked and worshipped in the sanctuary have returned there after death. Today you will find many people at Beaulieu who say that the voices of the monks have never been stilled, and that cowled figures still walk the old paths and lanes of the abbey. There are those, too, who have seen a monk in brown wandering about, performing his duties as he did 400 years ago. And they say that if there has been a death on the estate or in the village, the chanting of voices can be heard in the still of the night, louder and clearer than ever. We were eager to present ourselves at Beaulieu.
Too many people have seen ghosts of the monks of Beaulieu Abbey too many times to permit doubt in any but the most skeptical mind. I must admit that although I haven't actually seen a ghost myself, I know a great many people who have. Now this house, for instance, was the great gatehouse of the Abbey of Beaulieu, and has been part of the family home since the 1500s. Now, although the monks, of course, have been gone for over 400 years, you can very much still feel the sense of them here. For instance, people come up on the stairs here and often smell incense. And I remember as a child, my sisters too, we were terrified of the landing here and used to rush by on our way to bed.
Tell me, Lord Montague, do these ghostly phenomena remain generally consistent?
Rigidly consistent. First of all, there is the visual haunting, generally taking the form of a monk in brown being seen on various parts of the estate. And then there are the auditory hauntings, which take the form of chanting of monks, heard usually at night. Now I want you to come and meet my sister, because when it comes to ghosts, she's had some of the weirdest experiences of all.
Really? Is she at home today?
I was 18 at the time. I was sitting at this window, looking out into the grounds, probably mooning over some boy or other I thought I was in love with. Gradually I became aware there was a choir singing outside. There was sound sort of rising and falling, rather like a primitive radio. Suddenly I realized, though, that it was chanting I was hearing.
Oh, fan.
A chill went up and down my spine, and when my dog started to howl, then I was really frightened. Next day, I went to visit a friend of mine, Miss Amy Cheshire, who lived in the Abbey, and whom I knew was very knowledgeable about psychic things and was in tune with the ghostly monks. While she was putting on the kettle for tea, I went over to her piano, and I started to pick out the tune I'd heard the night before. It went something like this. When I looked round, she stared at me. She said, "So you heard it too? They were very loud last night, weren't they?"
Yes.
Soon after, Miss Cheshire died. Another lady took over her room. Was looking out of her upstairs window, which faced onto the ruined cloisters, when she saw a monk in a brown habit standing motionless in one of the arches. Out there.